Brexit ministers everywhere, but none of them had a drop of common sense. Well, you see, we had Dominic Raab, we had David Davies, we had fake Lord Frost, David Frost, and they also got another Dave, David Jones. Never mind the Sharons, we should be more concerned about the Daves, if you ask me. Well, you see, David Jones has just, made a statement saying that Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, will be too meekly over the EU. He'll bow down to everything that the EU throws at the UK. That's what he said. Wow, they're the bollocks. That it is. Well, you see, there's an issue, there is, that the UK is now being presented with a dispute from the EU, saying that the UK is now in breach of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. Remember the agreement that those numpties got us to sign up to? Now, as you know, many of the MPs couldn't be bothered to read the flipping agreement, the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. No, they're too busy, like Victoria Prentice. Yeah, she was organising a nativity. Well, that's her excuse. Pretty pathetic if you ask me. But you see, the European Union has accused Britain of potentially breaching the Trade and Cooperation Agreement with Rishi Sunak's recent crackdown on strikes. Yes, minimum service levels, which is a breach on democracy itself. Just like removing your right to protest. You can't even wear an orange shirt without getting arrested. You see, in Russia, 700 people have been arrested for protesting, environmental protests, that is. Yet in the UK, it's about 3,500 have been arrested. Okay, that we're going by Russian figures and what have you, so there might be very little in it. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, the minimum service level is all about fairness, you see. Trading between the UK and the EU. So we're on a sort of level playing field. And that's something else that springs to mind that is also a bit of a problem for the UK. That it limits our ability to trade with the EU and vice versa. It makes us, how to put it, non-competitive. Now, that would be the rules of origin. Something else that the UK is likely to breach, you see. So, the fact of the matter is, the UK is being hit with one dispute after another from the EU because the UK is not abiding by the rules of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. Why do you think they've had to impose import checks? It's all about fairness, you see. And what some people could argue, well, that hits the EU more than it does the UK. I suppose it does in some ways. Many small and medium enterprises here in the EU will suffer from it. Just like all those small and medium enterprises that are all going, how to put it, bankrupt. The figures are now, through the roof. There's more bankruptcies all going into administration in January than any other January before. Because these businesses are failing to be able to trade. They can't trade as they did before, you see. Now, some people will say, everyone will cite COVID and Brexit, they do. That's what I just read in The Guardian, that, is the cause of all these problems and businesses going bankrupt. But that's a lie. And it was in The Guardian. I thought, okay, well, is it me? Do all mainstream media, just lie? I've showed you before. I've looked at articles and what have you. And do they ever cite, especially the BBC, Brexit? Do a Control F, find, put the word Brexit in, and it don't come up anywhere. When it's obvious that Brexit has played a part. When medium to small enterprises are suffering importing into the EU. You see, we're all being hoodwinked by these idiots that are in control. I say in charge, but they're not in charge because they couldn't organise a piss up in the brewery. There is as much use as Nicola Sturgeon's, how to put it, marzipan dildo that they are. You tell me, is that Parliament as much use as a marzipan dildo? Is mainstream media as much use as that marzipan dildo? Leave it in the comments down below. I do read the comments, but you probably already know. But I can't always reply. That I can't. And what channel you do that on Patreon? Or buy us a coffee. And the links are down below. But please just boot the whole like button if not. Anyway, we have got a rewilding project here in France. We're planting 1,000 trees on 2 hectares of land. And if you want to be a part of that, there's GoFundMe link down below. And I'll plant a tree on your behalf. And I will make a little sign to go with that tree. And it'll be your name on or memory of a loved one or what have you. Or even a pet. Anyway, it's time for me to go. So say toodaloo, you know. Oh, crikey. You know Brexit ain't done yet. Death by 1,000 cuts, so that is. Toodaloo.